are in the studio of Matt Geddes to talk about his new exhibit, Professor Matthew Geddes' retrospective exhibit, Playing in Mud. Matt, please tell us why you chose the title Playing in Mud.
Okay. As being a retrospective exhibit, I just was thinking back over what are the influences? What were the things that gave me inspiration to do what I do? Because certainly some things are seen more clearly looking back than they are looking forward. And when I was a little kid, I grew up on a homestead farm in the San Joaquin Valley. My great-grandfather had homesteaded there. And near our home, it's right where the San Joaquin and Sacramento rivers come together. And there's a lot of clay in the soil there, as is typical in a river delta area. And so my brothers and sisters and I would, after irrigation, when the waters were drying out, there were clay deposits everywhere. And we were always in there just playing in the mud and making things. I never got the idea that, you could do anything with that except get in trouble.
Right. Bringing dirt over.
Making the house all muddy. Yeah. And so, I never really went into art at all in high school. In fact, I was in music. Started college as a music major. But then, when you're in college, you have to take these general education classes, foundation classes, we call them here. And I had to take an art class, and okay, ceramics fits in my schedule. Wow, you can get credit for playing in the mud instead of getting in trouble for playing in the mud. And then eventually that just evolved into a career. And that's what I've been doing my whole life, is just as what I did as a little kid. I'm playing in the mud. Yeah.
So when you took those general education classes, when did you realize I could actually make something, or maybe I can do this more seriously?
About 3 minutes into the first class, I just thought, whoa, you can do this and be going to school. It was just, I was back at home in the mud in that college class.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So we have this wonderful exhibit set up for viewers to enjoy. What do you wish for the viewers to take away from this exhibit when they walk in?
Yeah, good question. I don't think that there's any big, profound message that I'm trying to communicate. It's just that I love what I do. And I just hope that what I do and that I love doing, that somehow that feeling will communicate, that they'll just come in and enjoy what it is. There isn't any big message, any big theme on it. It's just, this is what I do. And I hope that I want to share that with you.
Thank you. You've taught at a few different places, like BYU Hawaii, and including here, and way back when it was Rick's College. Has your teaching changed over time?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, in fact, I've had kind of a unique experience in that I started teaching as a graduate student in Hawaii. I actually started in a state prison as a kind of an art therapy class for inmates in the Oahu State Penitentiary. But, as you go along, of course you evolve. Of course you do. In order to be a teacher, you have to be a learner. And when you learn, you change and you grow, and things get different. Sometimes you learn by trial and error. Yeah. There have been things that I've done in classes where at the end of that project, of course, you keep a straight face so the students don't catch on, but at the end of that project, you say to yourself, boy, I'll never do that again, Yeah. But, over time, you just naturally evolve. I approach teaching the same way I approach a piece of artwork. I have kind of a general idea of what I want, where I want it to go, but it takes on a life of its own. And the art piece goes where it wants to go sometime. And a class does the same thing, and so does a career.
Yeah. So, I've known you for a long time. You always, in a process of producing things, you're such a prolific artist. Has teaching changed you as an artist?
Oh, yeah. One of the things that's wonderful about teaching is that you're working with people who often have wonderful ideas, but they usually don't have a level of ability to communicate those ideas very well. Sometimes I'm sure that I'm influenced by my students as much as they are by me. Sometimes I probably, even though it's not conscious, I probably rip them off, you know. They'll do something, it won't be done well because they're just learning how, but some of their thinking is really, really good. That happened a lot, especially when I was teaching in Hawaii, where people were coming from so many different cultural backgrounds. Their outlook on things, the way they saw things, was so different from what my background was. And I would just go, I'd put out a problem for them, and it never occurred to me to solve it the way that they were coming at it from their cultural perspective. So I'm sure that over the years, I've learned as much from my students as they've learned from me.
Well, you're probably so humble that you will never say this. I know you have touched many lives. You're saying that you learned from your own students, but you change lives as a teacher, and including my own, a long time ago. If there's one thing that you wish that your students who walks in your classroom learn to be an artist for their future, what would it be? It's hard to narrow it down, but
well, you know, kind of going back to what I said at the beginning about playing in the mud. Why did I go into art? Sure, I was in the back of my mind somewhere there was a career to support a family, all of those external things. But at the core of it, I just loved doing that. I would hope that one thing that students could learn would be, like I did, try to get somebody to pay you to do something that you used to get spanked for doing or something, you know? Something that you get up in the morning and you just are happy that you get to go do that. And you're not just doing it so that it will be a way to get to those other things that you have to. You know, if you can love what you're doing, and it doesn't matter what it is.
But as you mentioned, it's hard to find a balance of reality, make a living, and follow your passion and enjoy what you're doing. And then something like that for you to find out as a student.
But certainly, I see a lot of students who come in and they're really focused on what am I going to do with this once I get out of school, once I apply it to something else. And if you're not loving it now, what you're doing now, and just thinking beyond this, I don't want to do that. That makes it into work. And I decided a long time ago, I didn't ever want to work for a living. I want to play for a living. And
so you enjoy what you do and learn well, and maybe it'll play out.
Well, I think if someone really gets good at what they do, someone will want that. Someone will pay you for that. You will get support, be able to support yourself by doing something. If you get really, really good at doing that, you'll be in demand. And even though maybe you didn't see that at the beginning.
So you learn well and do it, a lot of it, and get really good. Wonderful. It's a great wisdom from a great teacher. Now, I should mention that Matt is retiring after this spring semester, after his 33 years?
33 years here, 41 years of teaching in the church educational system.
Okay. So this retrospective exhibit could be your last exhibit at Spori Gallery.
Maybe at the Spori Gallery.
Maybe also. And could you share a little bit about your next steps in your life?
Well, you know, ever since I began school in the first grade, you know, when I was 6 years old, every September was a new year. And I never did get out of school. I mean, I've been in school once I graduated from being a student. I've been a teacher. So virtually as long as I can remember, September has been a new beginning. And my wife and I thought, what would happen if a September came and we didn't have anything to do? If I retired and it was just nothing to do. So we decided we're going to put in a mission call, a mission application, which we did, and we've received our call, and we report in August. We'll probably be in a mission in September. That'll be our new school year. it'll just be a continuation. I don't know how being a sculptor or doing art applies to that. I'll find that out.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, for some reason, by retiring from your long career as a teacher, doesn't mean that you'll stop creating.
Oh, no. Like I said, I didn't do this just so that I could get a pension.
Yeah.
And now I'm finished and I don't have to do that anymore.
Right. So you will keep creating.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And we will look forward to see what brings you in your different setting as an artist.
Who knows? Maybe it'll come back into the Spori Gallery in a few years.
We would love that. We would love that. So after this long career as a teacher, is there something you walk away from?
Oh.
Walk away with.
Walk away with? Oh. You know, another thing that I think has been wonderful about this is that my wife and I have had the unique opportunity is that she's a teacher too. So we've been colleagues through this whole thing. So my career is full of shared memories of things that my wife and I have done together. One of the things that we've done, in fact, we'll be doing it again in this spring, is that I've taken groups of art students to Europe in the springs, probably done that 25 or more times, and we'll be doing that again together. And we're doing it as husband and wife, but we're doing it as colleagues too.
Yeah.
And so that part of our career is it isn't going to end. We've got a great shared memory together there.
Yeah. And it's not ending. You're still learning together and teaching together.
Well, and there are some things. We will be back on campus as students again. Actually, the reason why I probably went into teaching was because no one would pay you to continue to be a student, you know? You couldn't make a career taking classes, so I had to be teaching classes.
Yeah, so you can be on campus.
Well, now I can go back into really being a student if I want to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having us in your studio, this beautiful space. And we appreciate your service and many, many life-changing lessons and classes that we were privileged to have from you.
Thank you. We've loved it and we'll continue to love it.